Hi, this is Becca from Master Procrastinator. Today I'm going to step through a project for the May Club Couture from Chalk Couture. It's the Enjoy the Journey transfer design. This is a great transfer, really easy to work with, and once you have everything separated, it can assemble pretty quickly actually. One of the things I love about working with the chalk is that you can use these transfers in just about any way you want to. So even though the design has the enjoy the journey sentiment on one line, because of the shape of my blank here, I don't want it all on one line. I'm going to need it on two. So once the transfer is laid down and you've got it secured pretty well, all you need to do is lay the chalk on the part of the transfer where you want to use the design. So in this case, I just need to remember only to cover the word journey with the chalk and squeegee as I'm applying the chalk paste. And even if I do put the paste over the other words, because this is chalk, I can just buff it off or use a Q-tip, a little dab of water, and clean up whatever mess I made. And I'm going to speed the video up here as I work just to save you a little bit of time. Now that I'm confident the journey is covered, I'm going to peel the transfer and go drop it in my water bath so that I can move on to the next part of the design. So this is the wheels of the bicycle. As you place it on your design, you want to make sure that that gear shift, not the gear shift, that's the chain housing, is on the left-hand side, as if the bicycle is moving off towards your right. So place that where you want it, get it smoothed down really well, and then we can work on chalking this and getting it ready for the next layer. Okay, so with a good layer of chalk over that design, I'm going to peel this and drop this one in the water bath as well so I can move on to the next step. I've decided to finish the sentiment now and let those wheels dry a little bit more. So I've refuzzed the sentiment transfer. I had cleaned it off first because I didn't want the chalk that was on the transfer from the journey part to mess up any other part of the design. So it's been washed and dried, and now I can place it here without worrying that I'm going to have a big smudgy mess to clean up from the previous chalking. I'm also going to lay my squeegee down here so that I can just anchor that other side of the transfer so it doesn't get in my way as I'm doing the chalk over Enjoy the. And once again, all I need to do is make sure that I just don't overlap the chalk on the part of the design that I don't want. But it's easy to clean up if you do, so don't be too worried about it. And now I'm going to move back to the other side of the sign, let the sentiment dry while I layer the bicycle frame over the wheels. This is one of the things I love about this design. It's so easy to line this up. You just take that little bump there where the pedal is and key that to the gear, I keep calling it the gear housing, the chain housing, and then you line up the little circle over there on the right with the hub of the front wheel, and it's going to line up perfectly for you. I do take a little bit more time here to smooth the design down. Since it is layering over the chalk, I want to make sure there's a really good seal there. And then I put a fair amount of chalk here on the transfer because I want this to be a nice, good, thick layer. Okay, so now I'm ready to peel the transfer up. I'm gonna go put this in the water bath. And I'm not gonna show it here, but I'm also gonna take this and use my hair dryer to help set this chalk so that it's good and dry before I continue with the next steps, which will be adding the flowers and the basket and the seat handles and the seat. So you can see I've cut the transfer and it's trimmed and ready to go. But you might also notice these numbers in the corner of my trimmed transfer. Those don't, it doesn't come that way, but I'm a little anal when I put my transfers back together, and I want to know that I'm putting the right transfer on the right backing. So I just use an extra fine Sharpie to put the number on one corner of the transfer and on the corresponding back of the paper backing so that I know what matches up when I'm all done. So with the seat cover and the seat handles, again, it's really obvious how you can line these up, and they're the perfect size. You don't have to worry about any weird overlaps or anything. So once you get them lined up, again, take a little bit more time to press down on the transfer so that pressure activated adhesive can give you a good seal. If you don't have a good seal, the chalk is going to push through the transfer and smudge your design. If that does happen to you, if the design does smudge, again, this is chalk. It's super easy to clean up. You can use, I have some pointy tipped Q-tips that are a great way to clean up those edges when all you need to do is swipe a little bit away and you don't want to have to redo the whole thing. All right, and as I start peeling these pieces away, you can see that the bicycle seat did not cover uh, the area as well as I would like. And this could be for a couple reasons. Since this is a transfer that I've used already, I step away here to take it to the sink, make sure that it's been really well washed. It could be that there might be some chalk still in that mesh part of the design, or as I was fuzzing the transfer earlier, maybe some lint started blocking that mesh. So I've washed it, and just in case it was a lint problem, I'm just patting it dry here on a microfiber towel so that it's not picking up a whole lot more. I do go ahead and re-lint it on the edges just to make sure that it doesn't stick to the board too much. And then all I have to do is reapply it to the same area, press it down again, and reapply the Chalkology paste. And now, after washing the transfer and reapplying the paste, you can see we've got a much better application here. And I'm going to go ahead and take my Q-tip and clean up just a couple of areas where I dribbled some paste while I was reapplying to that bicycle seat. And now we can move on to the bicycle basket. This again, you just line it up over the previous color there, and once you've got it lined up, press it down and apply whichever color paste you want. Now we're going to apply some of the greenery in the basket. So you just lay down whichever pieces you want. I'm going to use this floral piece, and then there's another smaller piece that is a little leaf. So I'm going to get those fuzzed up and then placed in the basket where I want them. I'm using Evergreen paste on these particular pieces, and you don't need much. It goes a long way. And I decided right about here that instead of making this entire piece green, I wanted to leave those little dots at the top a different color, so that there was just a little bit more differentiation in the piece. So just taking a little bit of extra care not to put the chalk in that part of the design. And now I'm going to add the yellow to the top of this design for the floral centers. And because it's such a tiny space, I'm just using the little spatulas that I use to stir the jars with, because it's just easier in this case. And now I'll add the other flowers. Place them wherever you want to, because the rest of the chalk design is dry. You can overlap and you don't need to worry about it. So we'll lay that down. We'll lay down one more flower to utilize those yellow centers. Okay, I'm just going to finish up here with the lilac, which is the purple color, and the pink, which is bubblegum, and go rinse those off. I decided that I wanted a little bit brighter yellow centers on these flowers, so I just used a pointed Q-tip and dabbed the lemon chalk paste onto the design. One thing that you can note is the dots in the J's for the Enjoy the Journey sentiment are actually just the right size for those centers if you want to use them. So here's the completed project. I hope you have a great time working with this Enjoy the Journey Chalk Couture transfer.